Mike Francesa said that women.
I'm already in. I need you to
Tell me everything.
Just wait. Mike Francesa said that women have no place. It is ludicrous to think a woman can coach men. Tara, do you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, I heard the term ludicrous the other day because of a bad call in a hockey game, but ludicrous, really?
But
I haven't heard that name since. And I said this.
1999?
I haven't since 2002 when Move Bitch came out.
But do you think that women? The topic is: do you think women can compete in men's leagues?
But do you guys know Francesa too? Like, I'm not justifying, but he also it's probably one of the way he speaks is
ludicrous. Maybe
is ludicrous. Maybe.
So there's I'll go on both sides of this.
Be diplomatic.
I'll be a little switcher or whatever. When it comes down to competing in a sport, if you have, there's a certain elite level. Now, right now, there's an elite level for men, and there's an elite level for women. And that's not just because somebody was like, hey, men. Physiologically speaking, you are capable, like reaching elite, it's going to take the same amount of effort to hit that level elite as a male as it would for a female to reach the female bar. But if somebody is capable of meeting the standards that have been set, or like that high bar that has been set, yeah, you should be able to, but that doesn't mean that the bar is going to be lowered. And there's if you're gonna cry about the fact that you can't be in a men's sport because you're a female, in the way I look at it, I'm like, you can't be in a men's sport, not because you're a female, but because you have not met the skill level or the
you never played in a men's league also.
Yeah, exactly. And even further,
yeah.
it's just biologically you aren't meeting the cutoff. So even if you were a man, you still wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
But
I think that's the point.
If somebody can make it that's a female, by all means, get out there.
Awesome.
He was also
Seriously.
saying he was also saying it applied to coaching.
It did, which
is
is
like,
very unusual
I'm pretty
because
sure
there are
you
so
can
many
know
female
the
coaches.
strategy and rules. I don't think that has to do with my estrogen level.
Yeah. But I will play devil's advocate. There is a certain level of distraction that can come from having a female coach. And there can be a huge, it's not even a matter of not taking them seriously, but there is definitely a distraction level. And it's not even so much the taboo of having a female tell you what to do, because the majority of these men have had their moms,
Right.
It's just and again, unfortunately, it's not saying that men are dogs and they can't handle being around a woman. I will be the first to say that I have had coaches from hockey to volleyball to gymnastics, like a man, and I'm like, okay, I'll listen to you, but it's because he was hot. And I was there showing up excited because he was good looking.
Majority of my coaches were males.
Yeah, but you're good looking.
Majority of my coaches growing up were men. I had one female,
but
two female
as an
coaches.
adult, if you have a bunch of grown men, in the same sense, a bunch of grown women, and it does, and it can and does happen, where it may possibly, that's just like the one thing that I could see.
And that's the argument.
That's the only tiny little argument.
And then that's the argument, like, whose responsibility is that?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, too, then it's like, are we going to waste our time and money trying to make a statement, or are we going to try and do what's going to be best for the team? But again, like I said, that is one tiny little argument. You could just get somebody that's qualified, and it's not going to be a distraction. So the bar needs to be met in all aspects.
I absolutely agree with you. I think the first instance that came to mind when we were deciding these topics was China was the first woman to win a men's title in WWE.
The Intercontinental.
Because she was a giant person. Mm-hmm. She physically couldn't meet. Physically couldn't meet that challenge.
Yeah, and there's been a few instances where there's been, bigger females that have been involved.
How big was she? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I need to know. Is she
Yao
Ming's mom?
Big female.
I don't know her height stats, but she was very muscular.
I want to say over 6 feet.
Jacked Daniels.
Yeah.
Jacked Daniels.
No, I know who she is. It's just sometimes people I'm considered a big female. So.
I would think she was probably 6 foot. I think that is a reasonable thing to.
I feel like she was.
You got me.
Yeah, but she was. The muscle mass that she had definitely was up to the level of a of the men competing.
Well, bring it
At
back.
least
Look at Serena
in
Williams.
some
Yeah.
And there's always
She could
that.
box
There's
jump
always
an
that.
RP.
There's always that argument of it's wrestling. It's also a story you're watching. So there is that level of believability. That's always the argument. Again, that's the devil's advocate
but I think they
argument.
wouldn't
is
put-
if you're watching it, am I going to believe that this woman can beat this man?
And she's probably one of
even
the
though we know
few
it's
that
a
you could
storyline,
believe that.
right? But that's people who don't want to see intergender wrestling. That's usually where they go to. Sometimes that's the reason as well. This is not believable, even though
When
there's characters. The Undertaker's supposed to be someone who's a dead man walking around. Like, when I hear about that argument, it's a little silly because some of the characters that we've seen, where's your level of believability when it comes to that? So,
wait, since China won, has there been a lot of male versus female?
they
the belts?
played around with it.
They do a-
recently, very almost like they're teasing it. It's more so on the independent wrestling scene.
Okay.
Where there's so many instances, and
Okay.
they're great matches.
Well,
because
I'm
they're
just
both
saying,
athletic.
why did they China and then we stopped? China won, and so then there was no more
kind of
battles after.
In a way, for
I
the
think there
Royal
was some
Rumble,
back
there's been a
politics
few
there as well. But
Yeah, for the Royal
It's
Rumble,
also
where
very
it's a bunch
early
of them.
for the time. It was a very that was one of the first time. Actually, yeah, China in wrestling. She was the first one, woman
she was the first,
to be,
the one to be like a competitive, not just like walking out with her boyfriend or
be
real
valets or
real or
models,
false
some
valet.
sign
Yes.
upside
Yeah.
down.
She
right?
one
There's
of
been a few female.
And didn't you say it's going to happen in the Royal the WrestleMania this year?
no, but this is the first year that women are headlining.
Yeah, it's the main event of WrestleMania.
There's three women. It's Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, and Becky Lynch. And it's usually a title match with the men, obviously, but it's three
Ronda
women
Rousey
as the
roundhouse
main event that will end the whole show.
That's
You
really
go off
cool.
on a high note, right? So, yeah.
And there's arguments about that too, about how is this really the best choice? And
I mean, I
Well, it
might
comes down
have
to the business side. I feel like
absolutely.
Yes.
So when you do that,
Marketing.
it's a great choice.
I have.
Oh yeah, that's going to bring in so
Would I
much.
have
I'll
Yeah.
watch.
I
It's
wouldn't
an-
have
I
made
think-
that decision, but I don't run the company. But a female does. Stephanie McMahon is sort of running WWE right now until they officially hand it
Yeah,
over to
her
her. But
father, I think, is taking a bit of a step back. At least that's what it looks like creatively
Absolutely.
to me. So I think that's where a lot of these other newer
women
ideas you haven't seen
empowerment is
before.
kind of
I think
in right now.
she's absolutely showing her influence in pushing the women to the forefront, which
Yeah.
I don't think is a bad thing. I just I love Seth Rollins.
It
so.
will probably, honestly, it'll probably get there once. My personal opinion is I think if Vince is not so much involved in creative, I think we're going to see more intergender wrestling. I think he personally, I don't think he's for it.
Sure.
Like I said, we see it all over on independent wrestling. And they're great matches. It's really fun to watch. You don't really care about believability or, this woman is much smaller than this
Okay.
man.
I think
I have
do.
questions.
Yeah.
Wait, women would have the upper hand in my
No, I
opinion.
really have questions.
Oh,
on
yeah?
this. This
because
is
they're so much
fascinating.
more flexible and they have much
Right.
more of a range of motion. So
Well, that's that's what I have questions
Get in there.
about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so for example, when I play golf with my family or whatever, there's I don't know if you know much about golf, but there's
You
where
suplex a bunch of people.
and you
then you
suplex
get
a bunch of people.
to the 18
there's
hole.
a women's tee and a men's tee.
Really?
Where women tee off from and where men tee off from.
Oh.
Okay.
So
well,
I
it
know.
kind of makes sense.
Okay, so wait. So I'm gonna say a couple things or if you're playing, let's say, one-on-one in basketball, or certain things. So I'm thinking, right, what the normalcy is, a guy is going to beat you, or they can run faster or tee off further. So what I'm saying for wrestling, just because I'm not that knowledgeable, is the story pre-written for the headliners, and we know who's going to win before.
We don't. They do.
They
do.
Performers.
So it's like acting.
So it is not an actual they're not fighting.
They're wrestling correct. They know.
This is what I'm trying to
I
understand.
didn't know
That's
this.
what I'm trying to understand.
Thank you.
Oh, we've
You're
shattered the
welcome.
illusion for her.
You just ruined this whole thing. I thought they truly went in there, guns a-blazing,
They
swinging.
also say the NBA
That's
is,
UFC.
You know how
definitely possibly.
you know how the magic trick works.
So my whole thing is let's say they do
ruined
put a
it.
female and male against each other. So what is the debate going to be that they're going to let a woman win?
And then they're going to be like, oh, you just did that to make women happy. And then they're going to let the
It's-
man win. And they're going to be like, you hate women.
I would hope not. I would hope it's whatever the storyline is. Wrestling also has tons of
That's why I think
storylines.
it's so interesting.
People call it a soap opera with wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, there's storylines that go years
people
back.
love sports because it's drama.
Yeah,
That's all sports.
and it's the
That's
same
why we
thing.
watch it.
There's different storylines and different characters and their motivations and what they want. And I would hope that's more so what they're concentrating on. If WWE ventures into intergender more, I would hope that's what it is what makes more sense for the story and for each character's development, whether that means the man or woman wins.
I have to.
I would hope it goes that way.
Yeah.
I hope it's not placating. You know, when they first have that match, when it's a man and a woman, I hope it's not that. I hope it is just whatever fits the storyline best.